Hey guys, Coop here from Two Brain Business, and today I'm going to tell you step by step how to hire a general manager for your gym. When your operations are awesome and you're ready to scale, then hiring a general manager can buy you time. The general manager's job is to maintain your standard of operations while you focus on sales and marketing and growth. Remember, every person in your business has to generate revenue or buy you the time to go out and generate revenue. And the general manager role is about the most expensive one in the gym other than your own. And so you have to have a plan for what to do with your saved time before you hire one. So the key is to understand that the general manager's job is to keep things the same. You're buying consistency. And that means that their primary tool is your staff playbook. So this person must maintain the standards that are set up in your staff playbook. They'll also use other tools like staff meetings and contracts and evaluations to maintain the gym. But most importantly, the general manager will solve problems, not just report them to you. So when should you hire a general manager? Well, you should be almost to the tinker phase of entrepreneurship yourself. That means that you're making a good income yourself and you're looking at the next opportunities. If you're not sure what phase you're in, you can click the link below this video and take our test to determine where you are. So that means that you should be making close to $100,000 per year US, and you should be ready to focus your time on marketing and sales and have a plan to do that, or you should be ready to start a different project. Okay. When should you wait to hire a general manager? You should not hire a GM if you're not being paid well yourself, because your business should prove that it can pay somebody full time by first paying you. If you need somebody else to grow the gym, like you're frustrated, nothing's working, and you just want to delegate growth, don't do it. Don't hire a GM. That's your job to figure out first. Later on, after you've got a proven process written down, then you can hire somebody else to do it. But that's not really the GM's job. The third time to not hire a GM is when you're just trying to give a coach some more work. So this is really, really common where somebody has a really good coach. They want to give this coach a full-time job. And so they promote them beyond their zone of competence. And they think that just because they're a good coach, they're going to be a good manager, but that's not true. And in a lot of cases, managing other people is something that like nobody wants to do. And so you wind up losing a great coach because they don't want to also be a manager. Okay. Another time to not hire a GM is when you're just trying to avoid doing something yourself, like sales or management, right? Maybe you said, I just want to coach more. I'm going to hire somebody else to be in charge. That just doesn't work. And then finally, don't hire a GM if you don't have somebody who knows how to manage other people. That's most of the job is people. And so if you've got like a coach who's good at numbers, but she can't manage other people, don't hire her as GM. Just like every other role in your gym, you're best to actually write down a job description with a list of responsibilities and then advertise for it and let people apply instead of hiring a buddy to give them more money and then putting them in a zone of incompetence. Okay. Now, how do you pay a general manager? Well, a GM has to do a lot more than just punch a clock. So they have to bear the burden of responsibility. They have to solve problems, not just report problems. And that means they have to have some time flexibility. Let's face it, a lot of a GM's job does not happen between 9 and 5. And so a salary it's not like a present or a reward for time served. It's an agreement by both parties that some flexibility is going to be required. And that's why you would pay your general manager a salary, and might not pay your coach a salary. But for example, when the gym floods, the general manager is going to be the one calling the plumber at 2 a.m., showing up to make sure that it all gets cleaned up and getting the gym ready to go before the 6 a.m. class. Now, obviously, that person is going to need a day off at some point, but they shouldn't have to call you to resolve the problem. Also, the general manager role does not have to be full-time. My GM at Catalyst works about 20 hours a week as the GM, and he coaches for about another 20 hours. His pay rates are different for each role, coach or GM, because each one brings different value to the gym. And it is rare to find a coach who's also a great GM, by the way. But while a good GM should make less than the owner, a good GM should be able to earn between $35,000 and $45,000 a year in a micro gym. And you can use our micro gym model P&L spreadsheet if you click the link below this video to calculate what you actually can afford. Finally, a GM should not earn a commission or like a profit share unless they're directly contributing to that. Because in most cases, the general manager, again, is there to maintain the gym's operations, not to be in charge of marketing or sales. And so they have no direct input into how quickly the gym grows. So they should not be incentivized or rewarded or have part of their compensation package tied into like a bonus. Okay. Now you could tie a commission to retention or some other measurable metric, but don't make it vague and beyond their scope of control. Okay. So here's how to train a GM step by step. I've had 4 general managers in the last 15 years. And what I do is I just put them through the 2 Brain Ramp Up program. And then I meet with them every month for an hour after that. And that's it. And I get a GM to work with another mentor at 2 Brain because that removes proximity bias for me. So the GM gets an objective perspective and they get clarity that's unclouded by my judgment. And why wouldn't I want the best help in the world helping the GM run my gym, right? It's a no-brainer for me. So if you're going to train your GM yourself, though, here are the steps. And you need to start with the most important things that they're going to be responsible for, which are member billing, member management, and member retention. So step 1, give your general manager your gym playbook to review. Have them go through the whole thing. If you don't have a playbook, then you're just not ready to hire a general manager because they have nothing to operate from. Step 2, train the general manager on your gym management system. Take as long as you need to on this to make sure that the GM is comfortable. I'd rather this takes a full week of in-depth training on your booking and billing software than to have them calling the support line for Wodify, Zenplan, or whoever and spending like 2 hours a week forever. And that was actually happening, not with Wodify, but with another company as I went through it. Third, and just remember, like every minute spent troubleshooting problems later is just money poured down the drain. A lot of these software companies will say like, oh, you can have unlimited support. But the reality is that if your general manager is spending an hour talking on the phone to the software company every week, you're paying for that hour and they could be doing something much better. Third, train the general manager on your member management software that includes your CRM. So you want to have like not just the booking and billing software, but now it's the CRM, your website, your Facebook groups, your coaching software, your email software, your texting app, whatever your software stack is, train your GM to manage that because you can't ever risk shutting off the flow of new clients while the GM gets up to speed or even like, having clients cancel and not even be noticed. Okay. Step 4 is go out to the store where you buy your light bulbs and your mop and your cleaning supplies and your soap, Home Depot or Walmart or whatever, and buy them a gift card. Okay. And that way they can just spend the money on the gift card without coming to you. And you don't have to get them a separate credit card or anything like that. Just get them a gift card to use to restock. Step 5, perform the 5 audits. So this is something that we teach in the 2 Brain Business Growth Phase. These are the audits that you do around November every year, the end of your year, and you just determine like step by step how things are going. And so there's a facilities audit, but also a marketing audit, a sales audit, etc. And instead of just handing this over to the GM, walk through the audit with them. These 5 audits, also client journey, operations, facility, marketing, and sales. They'll help your GM learn how to manage your business better and actually track their own progress. One of the problems that a lot of gyms have when they hire a GM is like the GM doesn't know what they're supposed to be doing all day. And so they misprioritize. They'll put a higher priority on like sweeping out the back locker area than they will on client acquisition. And now 2 months later, you've got this immaculate locker area and no clients coming in. And you're going like, what's happening? So if the GM is in charge of managing your CRM or lead nurture or retention or whatever, make sure that they're trained on the tools, make sure they go through the audit so they know when something's not working, and also make sure that they know what their priorities are. Okay. Step 6 is to book career roadmap sessions with the GM. Okay. So first, you want to do a session with the GM to talk about where they want to go in their career and the steps to get there. Then you and the GM together want to book a career roadmap session with each one of the staff and do the exact same thing. Eventually, the GM should take this over for you because they should be handling staff contracts and evaluations. But for right now, introducing the GM to them in this meeting shows the staff person that there is a guide to help them get the career that they want, and there's somebody who's just dedicated to helping them build that career. Okay. Step 7, set up monthly mentorship calls between you and the general manager. Now, this person has to have a mentor, right? Just like gym owner should have a mentor, your GM should have a mentor. Usually, the owner is the mentor to the general manager. And that actually makes you a better owner too. But you can also get someone outside the gym to fill the role, just like I do. I'll tell you why. If I'm mentoring the GM of my gym, I am going to be very, very tempted to like micromanage and look over their shoulder and jump in and do stuff myself. Having that objective perspective every month is awesome for like growing my gym faster. It gives the GM somewhere they can go to talk about problems with the ownership, me, and also like resolve issues from a more objective perspective. So maybe instead of me obsessing about lead gen, really there's a retention problem that I'm not seeing, and a mentor can help them with that. Okay. Final lesson here. This is so important. The GM hasn't learned all the hard lessons that you have. Okay. They haven't read the books. They haven't gone to the seminars. They haven't had a mentor. They don't have your education. They haven't skipped meals because they've missed a paycheck. They haven't had bad client breakups. They don't have your experience. You've got to treat them like a new entrepreneur and assume that you're working with a blank slate. All the stuff, the knowledge and experience that you've acquired doesn't automatically translate to the GM. I know that sounds obvious, but it's so easy to project your knowledge onto somebody else, that can cause some huge misunderstandings. And so you have to remember and constantly remind yourself that they are brand new, they're a blank slate, and they don't know what you know. So this process is actually a great practice for making you a better entrepreneur, because when you teach something to somebody else, you get to learn it twice. So when should you hire a GM? When you're already making a great living yourself and you want somebody to manage the standard of excellence that you've established while you focus on growth. That is a great place for a GM. And I hope these steps help you hire one when you're ready.